have a quorum. Let's stand for a moment of silence. Do the pledge. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We'll start with a presentation by the Cape Charles Business Association on lessons learned, lessons of the 2015 tourist season. Andrew, there you are. Thank you.
I'm used to coming to these things and it being about you all and one or two other people, so I might have asked to be pushed to another week if I knew we were going to have such an audience. In short, the lessons are all good. We had, hopefully you all know, we had a hugely successful season, and I think congratulations are in order to everyone in the room for the role they played in that. So what are some of the indicators of a successful season? Let's look at this. Most business sales were up sharply. I canvass the shops on a regular basis, and pretty much everyone's reporting the best year they've ever had, sharp sales increases. Speaking for myself, this year, for the calendar year, I will have doubled sales in my store from 2 years ago. The shoulder season, we're seeing exceptional growth. I've never been open 7 days before until the summer season, about a week into June, comes into force. And this year I opened up 7 days, 2 months earlier, and there was 1 day perhaps that I didn't make a profit. And we're seeing even bigger growth in the fall. Lodging and meals tax, I don't have those numbers, but anecdotally I hear they're quite up, so when they become available, I encourage you to look at those. A clear indicator is the demand for storefronts. Even back in the heyday of the real estate market, we had every available storefront on Mason Avenue filled. And that is the case today. And the last time one became available, the Moonrise location, it was rented before the old tenant moved out, and I think that will likely happen with the next one available. I would encourage you as a council to do whatever you can to encourage those remaining empty storefronts. Encourage those owners to fix them up, sell them, whatever it takes to turn those into productive spaces. Virginia Main Street just released their impact evaluation of 30 years of their program, and they've calculated that those empty storefronts are costing us, the town, in terms of lost income and revenue on the order of $222,000 per year per storefront. So any help you can have in helping us build the business community further, we appreciate it. So what are the elements of success? The new beach has been huge. We've all seen it's brought a lot more people to town. You've seen the volume of cars parked on Bay Avenue, the post-beach rush in the stores. That's something that's new. We've had great travel press and other media, but it's been ad hoc, which I'll get to on your challenges or opportunities. And the visitor center. Whatever the grant that you all give the visitor center is probably the most bang for your buck that you get out of any money you spend. They send so many people every day up to Cape Charles, people who cross that bridge just to have experienced the bridge. Okay. And parking. Yes, I know we had some challenges with it, but I think you all saw all those additional spots were full pretty much every weekend. And finally, the individual businesses. We all benefit by the businesses that are doing a really good job marketing themselves. Before we look at what we would ask of you as a town in terms of taking advantage of opportunities, we look at ourselves in the business community and what can we do better. The #1 issue tourists raise is complaints about store hours. Stores not being open enough, some stores having erratic hours. The Cape Charles Business Association Committee, the Retail Alliance, is actively working on that. The consensus come up with some suggested hours, and I think next year we will have some marketing benefit or incentives for those stores who adhere to those hours. We all hear it, I think, locals feel it too, a plea for more restaurant choices. I think the tourism zone ordinance is going to provide some significant incentive on that, and whatever else you all are able to do. And third would be inadequate information resources in terms of social media and websites. And that is a real struggle for small business, but it's something that the Business Association is working on, trying to bring some resources to town. We hope to do some as follow-up to the Tourism Summit. Resources were not made available that we were expecting to be made available, but now we're hoping to be able to do that through the Virginia Main Street program. As I think most of you know, Lydia and I went to the Virginia Main Street training in South Boston a few weeks ago, and I think we're looking at scheduling a work session with you all next month on that. So I won't steal any thunder away from that, but it provides a great forum for stakeholders to come together and work on these issues as a community. So I think today we'll just focus on what we can all do to incorporate lessons from this year into addressing future challenges. And to make it sound more positive, let's look at them as what they really are, opportunities. In a nutshell, we've got a lot of low-hanging fruit. I think most of you have heard me use the analogy that I said a year ago, there was a lot of low-hanging fruit, and now I would say there's a lot of fruit lying on the ground waiting for us to pick it up. I won't name names, but one of you all said to me last week, we just need a win as a town. And my response was, you've had a lot of them. You just haven't picked them up, you've let them roll by. And a big part of that is communication. Communication. That's how you're letting these wins pass you by. In terms of marketing, tourism, media, social media, there's some very important functions which just aren't really being done by us as a town. That can be addressed without a great deal of effort. Finally, we need to build a culture of accountability. You own the problem, own the solution. You'll hear me say that repeatedly. We need to get to where we're all working towards solutions. Number one issue, tourism and communications. Tourism is the number one driver for this town. And we have no town staff dedicated to tourism and marketing. It is not just a business issue, it's the engine for our town. There's this perception that tourism and marketing benefit businesses, it's their issue. The benefits of tourism are a public good. Tax revenues, property values, increased population brings more services, it's the only way to get into the hospital, greater labor pool, more skilled labor pool for public and private jobs. This is the pathway to do it. The reason we've lost out on these wins, like I said, is a lack of communication. Let me give you two examples. The beach restoration. My first factor in our success this summer. You all remember back in February, there was a lot of noise and complaints. People said, what's going on? The beach looks awful. The whole town smells. People had an unpleasant surprise. In public administration, surprises aren't good. What we would want to do the next time around is communicate what's coming to the town. People say, hey, great, the Army Corps of Engineers is coming in. They're going to dredge the harbor. The benefits of that you all know. But all that sand is going to be put up on our beach to restore our beach. We're going to have a wider beach this summer. That's going to bring a lot of people in. It's going to be a lot less crowded. But there's a cost to get there. We're going to have a couple weeks where the beaches are going to look good. We promise it's going to look better. Town smell, that's only going to last 2 weeks. Then you're controlling the message and you're getting that win. Second example, the parking. We all know what the headaches were with the parking. People woke up one day and there was this new parking arrangement. That's how most of our citizens found out about it. What we could have done is said, hey, last summer everyone was expressing concern about the parking spaces we're losing with the Patrick Canyon development. We've heard you, and we've got this great plan. We're going to add 30-some spaces, and even more than just the additional spaces. You know, we've talked to experts. We've consulted with VDOT. The new parking arrangements are going to be safer for the children and the elderly. It's going to be easier for you to load your car. There's going to be a transition period, but we're going to have police out there the first couple of weekends helping you all see how to do it. We'll have some mailings. We're communicating it, and if that still isn't enough for you, there's the old style parking across the street. Had we done that, the noise would have been very different and you all would have had a win. But there's still time. You all can continue to roll out changes. We don't have a distinguishable brand or message, which means every time we say something, if we have no message, it's all off message. Think how much more, things are going great here. We had a great summer. Think how much more we could achieve with a coordinated marketing strategy and brand. Finally, maybe a way of better communication is how we counter rumors or misinformation that's out there. And like I said, we're losing out on those. We are adrift with the press and media. We do not have any staff, dedicated staff with the skills and qualifications to handle the press, and it shows in our lack of planning and preparedness. The drowning in the spring, we had no statement as a town for days, and then we were playing catch up. We don't have any coordinated schedule of or preparation of interviews or media appearances by our town staff. Again, no message, we're off message. The travel press, I mentioned, it's ad hoc. All these people are coming here and writing about us. We're doing nothing to control the message. We're not shaping our brand, which means we're less effective. We've had a lot of missed opportunities as a result. The town government was out of the loop on the Hampton Roads Week on the Eastern Shore Week on the Hampton Roads Show, which I think you all know was a big success. We have no staff as a resource for the press. If I'm coming to town as a reporter, there's nobody who's a parent for me to go meet with who's going to help shape how I represent the town. The town has a critical and unique role in tourism marketing, and number one on that has to be cross-marketing with Bay Creek. It's a banner year for Bay Creek this year. 2016 is going to be even better. I'm not going to steal any of Linda Busby's thunder because I know she's coming to make a presentation to all of you next month. The town is uniquely positioned to leverage Bay Creek's enormous investment in marketing. They're opening a lot of doors that have never been opened to us before, and we have an opportunity through cross-marketing for every dollar we put in to get $10 a day. And we can only do it through that. It is not Bay Creek's job to market this town, which is what a lot of people seem to think. Bay Creek is marketing town as part of their overall package, but their headliner is Bay Creek. Our headliner is Town of Cape Charles. So we need to embrace that. They've done 160 discovery tours so far this year. That's at least 300 people. They're all staying in town at least 2 nights. We're not marketing the town to those people, and we're not capturing those people who decide, hey, this is a great town, but maybe Bay Creek's not the right fit for us. Second big thing I would raise in terms of our unique role in tourism marketing is the Northampton County Chamber of Commerce. This is an organization that brings for one event every year hundreds of people to this town. They have their issues. The Business Association is trying to partner with them to help them work through some of their issues. But that one event alone, they have completely revamped this year in response to feedback from local businesses, saying we're going to take a risk with our biggest fundraiser and reorganize it completely so that more of those people will be in your shops and restaurants as a town. So the fact that this year the town did not renew its membership in that Chamber of Commerce is just bad business and it's bad for town. Good news is it can be fixed tomorrow. And we've lost weekly marketing opportunities. They send at least one email blast a week saying everything that's going on in the shore, except what's going on in Cape Charles. It's not very exciting, so I can't spend much time on it, but we have real quick, change management. It's something we need to pay attention to, and it doesn't cost anything, and it's a little bit of time. This is a simple example, the reverse angle parking. We had a lot of anger and friction. Merchants, tourists, everybody was angry with the police for writing tickets. The police were frustrated at not being able to enforce their new ordinance. There was a lot of finger pointing and defensiveness instead of progress towards a solution. This is what I'm talking about in terms of culture of accountability. Accountability is not blame. It's not about finger pointing. It's about owning the problem so you can own the solution. The whole season is gone. This started before Memorial Day. It's 4 months later. There's really been no change or progress. When you're at a spot, when you park in front of the store, today, you cannot see any sign that tells you it's reverse angle parking. What we needed to do is get the stakeholders together upstream, that's law enforcement, public works, the businesses, and come up with a plan for the rollout, including communications. This is how bad implementation makes people think things are bad ideas. Key opportunity there is, like I said, we've got more things coming. We've got the tourism zone. We've got the new parking down at the beach. We have an opportunity to learn from this and handle those things better so that town gets the wins it deserves. Very quickly, because it's boring, but it's critical for our backline functions, is the need for increased accountability in our backline accounting functions, which frankly are only interesting when things go wrong, let's face it. But it's a key to our culture of accountability. There's been a lot of buzz about a meeting, and I've talked to some of you about it a couple weeks ago, where there was some discussion of weaknesses in financial management in one of the departments, in management of debt. This is strange because this was done in a public forum, because department heads are not responsible for financial management. That is town leadership and the treasurer's responsibility. So what we're talking about is an oversight issue. And we need to address that as such. And have our lines of accountability clear, because we have the right person who owns this problem, they can own the solution. Second, procurement. When Brett came to town from sitting in on some of these meetings, I said to him, I've seen real weaknesses in procurement and the way contracts are awarded here. It's something we need to work on. As someone who has taught courses on procurement all over the world, has personally supervised in my previous career over $1 billion worth of procurement, I can tell you the biggest disappointments with it this year were that 2 extremely valuable tools and resources were severely damaged due to weak governance in our procurement systems. Go through them very quickly. The first one, as we all know, is Cape Charles by the Bay. Just like the parking, we had finger pointing instead of solutions. No accountability, nobody owned the problem, nobody owned the solution. We played shoot the messenger, where the businesses who stood up here and said something went wrong here were actually blamed for the problem, when in fact we had serious deficiencies in a flawed process. The town has acknowledged they did not have the legal authority to undertake the procurement. They did not employ the necessary technical expertise in conducting the procurement. So the solicitation of bids was not technically competent. They did not embrace the full scope of work, and neither did the evaluation of bids. We don't care who's to blame. It's own problem, own the solution. Let's just make sure it does not happen again. In my career, whenever my teams would stumble, I'd pull them together and I'd say, first thing I'd say is, I'm sorry, this is on me, because I did not equip you for success. It's not because I love to beat myself up, it's because everybody comes in when there's a problem like this, prepared to point fingers, their walls are up, their defenses are up, and they are only focused on making sure they don't take all the blame. You come in, you take accountability, you say, hey, it's on me, let's all focus on a solution. Those walls come down, and all of those great minds are focused on where we need them to be focused on, and that's a solution that we move forward. And next time we'll be able to get a solution in a more timely manner. Second quick example, the tourism map. This was a long-awaited resource that I hope is not dead. We have questions about, again, questions were asked and it killed the product. We had questions about how the ads were awarded. In a quick nutshell, that led to no reprinting of the map. It was nice while it lasted. It hasn't been reprinted because now nobody knows what to do with it. In short, the town handpicked 3 advertisers, wrote them into contract before they ever approached them, and said, you all are going to be advertisers for this map, here's how much it's going to cost you. The problem is the second public funds went into that, which covered about a quarter of it. It became a misuse of public funds because of preferential marketing opportunities given to those 3 vendors. So the result, now we have no more maps. Our business association has offered the town to take that over, and I hope that will be, we will have a favorable response to that. Now the last thing, important lesson, our town harbor is the jewel in our crown. That is the center of our town, it's the center of so many recreational activities, and we do minimal marketing, because it belongs to town, and town doesn't do much tourism marketing. So there's a lot of potential not being realized there. We've made incredible progress though over the past 10 years. I think all of us here can applaud Smitty's tenure, say, wow, what a great 10 years it's been, and wish him much success in his new adventure. But our needs are different from what they were 10 years ago, and it's time to take it up a notch. We know we don't want to lose control of this critical resource, but we also know what's changed is we have a greater need for marketing skills, event planning skills, hospitality skills, financial management, procurement skills. So without losing control of this critical resource, we do need to look at how we can meet those changing needs. This is not my area of expertise, so I don't know what those options are. But I think they need to be researched before we just rush to follow the blueprint and just hire another harbor master along the same model. One option is to contract in specific skills rather than contracting in a particular individual. What that would be bringing in a company who reports to town just the same as an individual would. You're not giving up any control, but there's some immediately apparent advantages in something like that. You can get skills across the board that meet our needs that you're not going to find in one person, at least not one person that we can afford. You have flexibility in changing personnel. It's hard to get rid of town staff. If in a situation like that, if the guy they have leading the team isn't working for us, we just say, hey, swap him out. And it's that easy. We'll get top capacity in all of those key areas. So again, that may not be the answer, but I'm just saying that or one of the other options, these deserve a closer look before we commit to another 10 years. That's about, we deserve a well-informed decision. So just to sum up the recommendations that I've tried to put together, number one, prioritize the tourism marketing and media function. And we need to do this now. We need professional qualified capacity. This doesn't mean add-on function for Lou. Although I'm sure she'd do a great page. One thing we can get an immediate head start on is a town Facebook page. This is how a lot of people get information, and it's how literally by a week from now we can address some of these communication shortfalls. Don't miss Bay Creek's presentation next month. I got a little bit of a sneak preview in preparation for this, and wow, next year is going to be amazing for Cape Charles and Bay Creek. And tomorrow, go fix it. Join the chamber. Change management. The big changes we have coming up. Rolling out the tourism zone. New parking on Bay Avenue. Let's pull together all the stakeholders upstream and have an implementation plan that includes a communications plan. The backline support. Let's just work on increasing the accountability and oversight and having clear lines of accountability. So when problems come up, we know how to deal with them. And on the harbor, please make a well-informed and educated decision. So hopefully I've communicated that in conclusion. We get a good report card. 2015 season was a huge success. All of our learning moments are opportunities. There's no bad news here unless we don't pick up the lessons and learn from them. There's a lot of low-hanging, high-impact fruit, a lot more than I had time to go into, and we are on track for much greater success in 2016. So again, congratulations to everyone in this room. This season, I think, we had our challenges, but it was a huge success, and everyone in this room played a role. So thank you for that.
Thank you, Andrew. Very nice and very comprehensive presentation. I appreciate it very much, and I believe council will as well. Council, does anyone on the council have any comments or questions for Mr. Palmer before we go on? All right, thank you. And I'm assuming we get a copy of this, right?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Next item of business is Friends of Cape Charles Memorial Library proclamation. This is National Friends of the Library Week. Hold on a second, I'll try to get my agreement. All right. So I have a proclamation to read, and I would like to then ask the town council to vote on that, to approve this proclamation. Town of Cape Charles Proclamation 2015, 2015-1015, recognizing the Friends of the Cape Charles Memorial Library during National Friends of Libraries Week, October 18th through 24th, 2015. Whereas Friends of the Cape Charles Memorial Library raise money that enables our library to move from good to great, providing the resources for additional programming, much needed equipment, support for children's summer reading, and special events throughout the year. Whereas the work of the Friends highlights on an ongoing basis the fact that our library is the cornerstone of the community, providing opportunities for all to engage in the joy of lifelong learning and connect with the thoughts and ideas of others from ages past to present. Whereas the Friends understand the critical importance of well-funded libraries and advocate to ensure that our library gets the resources it needs to provide a wide variety of services to all ages, including access to print and electronic materials, along with expert assistance in research, reader's advisory, and children's services. Whereas the Friends' gift of their time and commitment to the library sets an example for all in how volunteerism leads to positive civic engagement and the betterment of our community, now therefore be it resolved that I, George Proto, Mayor of the Town of Cape Charles, proclaim October 18th through 24th, 2015 as Friends of Libraries Week in Cape Charles, Virginia, and urge everyone to join the Friends of the Cape Charles Memorial Library and thank them for all they do to make our library and community so much better. May I have a motion to accept this resolution?
Second.
All in favor? Is there any discussion or comment? All in favor? Aye. You need a roll call on this, Libby? I don't think so. Motion is carried. Thank you very much, and big pardon?
Emily Cohen, who is the president of the library, spends about 28 hours a day thinking of things people. If you've got any free time, give her your name and you'll have no free time.
As a kid, I loved going to the library. I also liked playing baseball. Those two things aren't in conflict, they complement each other. Thank you very much. Next order of business are public comments. We have 3 minutes per speaker. Do we have anyone signed up?
Neoco Marshall?
Yes. Good evening, Mayor Proto, Council, and all the present. I'm not really a public speaker per se, and I don't expect answers right now or anything, but I have several concerns. Recently, I was directed to an article in Cape Charles Mirror about our assistant town manager, and I'm not going to comment on my personal thought on that, but I've heard several people talk about a lot of controversy about a scam. And it concerned me because this is one of our leaders. And a good town and its leaders is like a marriage. When the trust is gone, the marriage is gone. And if people cannot trust him, I think that someone should take a look at how to proceed next to, you know, satisfy your town people, your citizens. That's just, you know, off the top there. My major concern, and I'm not sure if it's a town issue or VDOT issue, is in Cape Charles at the corners, there are ramps for wheelchairs and things. And that's really great, you know, it gives handicapped people more access. There are several corners in town where there's a ramp, but it goes to nothing. There's no sidewalk. A normal wheelchair cannot go across there. Power chair, if the grass is wet, can't go there. And it actually limits how far a handicapped person can go, or makes them go out of their way. Now, I feel like they should have direct access, just like a mobile person. And there's also one block where there's a ramp that goes to grass, and then a sidewalk. And at the end of this sidewalk where the grass begins, in front of somebody's house, it says keep off the grass. So you can't go from ramp to grass to sidewalk. And I'm not sure who to take that to. But I have serious problems with it because I take care of an 83-year-old man, and he has mobility issues. And in order for him to leave his home and perhaps go to the beach, he has to go all the way to the other end of the block, go across, you know, across the street, go down the other way, and then cross again. Because of where these ramps go to nothing. And I just feel like it's still inhibiting people who have mobility issues. And the last thing I want to speak on is I want to thank the Cape Charles Police Department for all their protection of us. And their hard work. And that's all I'll just say at this point.
Thank you very much.
City Guys.
Mayor, Council, how you doing? Stu Dawes, 19 Creek Street, coming at you in a different fashion. It seems a couple weeks ago, my name was to circle a topic with you guys, and certainly one, so I'm going to come and shed some light on my credibility. I'm always free. You got some questions for me? You want to question my ability about anything I did at the harbor? Call me. Door's always open. Knock on the door. I ain't running. I didn't do anything. I can tell you that the reports that was put out for the harbor thing, I went back and I went through the audit, and if you want to look at page 15 and 16 on all the audit books, there's a description. It was reported that the harbor went to hold $83,000 without the debt and depreciation. Audit says $47,000 to the good. That's a big difference. $183,000 negative, $47,000 to the good. And I'm sorry, these people who do the audit, we pay them good money. That's what you bank on. As far as stuff going to the getting properly put, we took our stuff to the treasurer's office every day, and I'm sure they still do. It's accounted for. Everything was accounted for. It goes to deposit, ever cash, the cash flow is accounted for, everything was accounted for. And as far as say on tax management, on Fighting News, not the case. You all know that. You all know that. And to think otherwise is crazy. And for me to have to come up here and stand up here and say anything, and I'm addressed the harbor AR too. The accounts receivable, and you can ask treasurer, they're supposed to be wiped off. Yes, there were some outstanding balances, you know that, but 2013 harbor AR outstanding over 90 days, 58,174. Water, sewer, and sanitation, 222,302. Where's the accountability for that? You can come down on me? $222,000 over 90 days. That's in the audit. So, I mean, you know, from the time I took over, 2005, April 1st, harbor, the sales use, all the taxes associated with time with tourist-related taxes was $157,749. The last audited year, $302,527. Currently this year, $207,000, as of this report, $207,134. What you got now? That's got to do with that harbor. This harbor, this town as a whole. Everything you do, it's as a whole. So if the taxpayers or whatever, you got to eat some of it, you got to eat some of it. It's between the roads. But that, as far as saying that I didn't do my job, I've been over backwards for this time. I worked and bled, sweat for this time. But I don't hear it. I've done it. And I can tell you one other thing too. There was times, and it's cleared up now. I will tell you, you've got good staff in most areas. But I can tell you there was times that we had to call up companies because we were late. Whatever charging us interest, they were charging. You look in the harbor fund, you look at fuel bills and stuff in the harbor for the past 2 or 3 years, there was interest charges on it. Because that was the accountability. So you're talking about accountability at harbor, you need to straighten up and look at the accountability of all departments. Start reading them audits instead of passing and say, yes, they look good. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you.
Emily Collins.
Hi, I'm Emily Collins, I'm 29 Churchill Downs. I'm the president of the Friends of Cape Charles Memorial Library, and I want to thank you, Mayor, for issuing the proclamation for Friends of the Library. I'd like to let you know about the programs that the Friends will be sponsoring next week during the National Friends of the Library Week. On Monday, we will have Dr. Francis Williams and Bob Arthur reading from and discussing their books at the Civic Center from 7 to 9 p.m. Refreshments will be served, and this is the final 2015 author reading in our series. We'll be picking this back up in May of 2016. On Tuesday, we'll have a smartphone help session from 2 to 4 at the library. It will be an informal session. We'll be answering any questions and helping people use their smartphones. On Wednesday, Tommy Carroll, a Medicare specialist, will lead a seminar about Medicare in the Civic Center from 4 to 6 p.m. And on Thursday, we'll be giving an introduction to Windows computers at the Civic Center from 2 to 4 p.m., helping people understand how to use their computers without frustration. If there's interest, we hope to schedule more computer courses after this. All the Friends of the Library Week programs are free and open to everyone. I have a very important and exciting announcement to make tonight. The Friends are starting a new series for the winter, Afternoon Teas at the Civic Center. Two of our friends who are leading this are here tonight, Diane Yamiko and Sherry Lawson. We have a program for each, as well as specialties and delicious foods. On November 9th, the Barrier Island Center will present Soul of a Culture, the Barrier Island Story. On December 14th, the Eastern Shore Virginia Historical Society will tell us about Christmas traditions on the Eastern Shore. On January 11th, Lynn Lawson, a dream analyst, will present Dreaming with Intention, New Year, New Life. The events will be held from 3 to 4:30, and tickets for each of these teas are $15. They will be on sale at Great Fields and Cape Charles and the Book Inn only. We hope to see you all there. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Tammy Holloway.
Good evening. My name is Tammy Holloway, and I live at 403 Tazewell. And tonight I wanted to address the mayor and council regarding a few items. I want to express my concerns in regard to the alleged assault that took place in Central Park on October 1st. I commend the swift work of our Cape Charles police staff in apprehending the suspect. However, I'm deeply concerned that residents of the town, or at least the surrounding area, were not notified that the incident occurred and that an arrest had not been made for 48 hours. Our home backs up to the park, and it was very alarming when I learned that the event actually happened 72 hours after it happened, and I found out through a Google alert. I take responsibility for staying informed of town events and happenings, yet I never knew that there was a Cape Charles Facebook page where this news was posted after the event. I think it's wonderful we have a Facebook page. However, I'm concerned that is not the only way in which we need to communicate such events to our residents, especially in situations where our safety is concerned. Many residents are not using technology or even on Facebook. And if they do, are they even aware of such a page? We live in a safe and quiet town, yet sometimes bad things will happen. This is out of our control. However, what is in our control is how we respond to such events. It follows up with what Andrew was saying, is that we have to take actions and be prepared. We have a responsive police force, which is most important. We desperately lack means of communicating to our residents. As a person who is not one to complain unless I can recommend or help resolve, I would like to ask the mayor and council and town staff to look at a few potential solutions. 1, adding a reverse 911 or emergency text notification system. This could be used in events like that just occurred, or during severe weather threats, or things that the town needed to be aware of in an urgent manner. There are many such systems in places for municipalities like Cape Charles, or perhaps we might partner with Northampton County. Second, look into getting some sort of item that we could give to members of the community that has emergency information on it. Many new residents are not aware who to call during a non-emergency event. For the first 2 years we lived here, we called the Cape Charles police number and wondered why we didn't get an answer. We just didn't understand that we were supposed to call the Northampton County Sheriff Department for a non-emergency event. I recently saw a little magnet, I think it was at this meeting, that was left over, I guess, from something, that had these numbers on them. But it made me realize that our new residents never received those. Those probably were given out years ago. But when you move to Cape Charles, there's really nothing that you get that says, this is how you get information about the town. As a town, we need to develop a welcome packet for residents and rental homes to include such items like I discussed, plus policies on golf carts, pets, beach, etc. And I'd like to really just emphasize a couple things that Andrew talked about tonight. I really think communication is definitely a part of what I was talking about tonight. he was talking about a different angle of which he knows I'm very passionate about as well. I think we can really work together to get the word out and to get everyone involved. So much goes on at these town council meetings. We're regular participants. I know it's the people who are not here that really need to know some of the messages though. So I hope that we'll consider some of the suggestions I made, and that as we move forward, we can be forewarned of some of the safety issues. Thank you.
Thank you.
Roberta Keller. Good evening. My name is Roberta Keller, and I'm here to.
You say your address, please.
Oh, I'm sorry, 7514 102 Road, Granttown. I'm here to give you a report about the Birding Festival. We had our 23rd annual Eastern Shore Birding and Wildlife Festival headquartered in Cape Charles this past
Could you speak
weekend.
more to the microphone, please?
I guess it's a little low.
He's speaking to the top of the microphone. That'll work. If you could
Okay.
bend the thing up a little bit.
What if I just take
That's
it
better.
off?
Okay.
It's a little different in Northampton County. Sorry about that. This was my first year running the festival, and I just wanted to thank you for the support of the town, the financial support, as well as the infrastructure support. From our perspective, we had a very successful year. We had 310 paid registrations. I don't really count the walkthroughs and other traffic that results from the festival because it's really the paid registrations that count, in my opinion. 43% of our paid registrations came from out of state. So it's not just within Virginia that people are traveling, but from all over the country. And that amounted to 133 people, and they originated from as far away as California, Wyoming, Vermont, Oregon, Michigan, Illinois, Montana, Texas, Iowa, Maryland, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, North Carolina, Ohio, Delaware, New York, Florida, Connecticut. From the within state, 57%, we only had about 65 people from the Eastern Shore or across the bay. So the vast majority of people attending the festival were heads in bed type of travelers who stayed for several days and required lodging and meals and brought that kind of economy to the town. We also, as part of the proceeds for our festival, we were able to bring a school program to all of the schools on the Eastern Shore of Virginia. So we included Accomack County, and 2,838 kids on the Eastern Shore got to see the live bird and prey demonstration called Flight of the Raptor, which was a way for us to bring the festival to a lot of the kids who would not otherwise be able to attend or experience any of the educational programs. So again, I just wanted to say thank you, and we had a very successful year. 23rd year, we have a very financially sustainable business model that we operate under, so you can expect to see us for the 24th year. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Good evening, Bill Brickett from 210 Tazewell Avenue. A couple of weeks ago, on a Saturday night, we had an electrical problem at our house that was causing sparks and smoke, and needless to say, it was causing us some concern. So I called 911, and I was still on the phone with the dispatcher at 911 when the Cape Charles Fire Department.
Just take it out. Just pull it out. Or bend it up.
Thank you. So I was still on the phone with the dispatcher from 911 when the Cape Charles Fire Department showed up at our door, fully prepared to address any eventuality. Fortunately, the problem was not severe. The fire department confirmed that things were temporarily secure, and
Thank you.
Suzanne Elmer.
Suzanne Gallagher, I'm a business owner at 12 Strawberry Street, Periwinkle's Consignment Boutique. Good evening, Mayor, Town Council, citizens of Cape Charles. I am here just to reiterate a few points that Andrew made this evening. First of all, I'd like to thank Andrew for doing just an outstanding job representing the Cape Charles Business Association and all the members with his wonderful presentation. I hope you all listened very carefully. 3 points that I just really would like to emphasize. One is, please consider a dedicated, experienced staff member to handle the tourism marketing. I think what we just heard from the Bird Club about the places where people are coming from to this town is a good indication that we really are in need of this type of staff member. The second thing is please encourage and provide incentives, if possible, for building owners on Mason Avenue to make the buildings that are currently there that are not usable for rental to become usable. And the third is, one of the things I hear often in my shop is frustration from visitors about shops being closed or not, saying they're open when they're not open, not having billable business hours. I don't know if it's possible, but I'd like you to consider offering some kind of incentive for shop owners, businesses in Cape Charles that do abide by the suggested hours and days. Cape Charles Business Association has come up with the suggested open hours and days, and several of the businesses, including Andrew and myself, have abided by those hours, and sometimes it gets awful lonely, but we've all experienced a great deal of success, I think, because of it. And we have people that come into our shops and thank us for being open. So nothing's more frustrating and kind of embarrassing, honestly, when people come in and they say, why does it say they're open and they're not there? Why is every business closed on Tuesdays? Thank you for being open. So I just kind of smile and I often say, well, I'm open, thanks for coming in today. But it would be nice if the town could do something, not sure what, but please consider. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Time for public comment is closed. We need to approve the consent agenda format with the following condition. Item 8G, law enforcement mutual aid agreement amended by the consent agenda. Do I have a motion? Second?
Can I another change? Could we discuss the department reports this evening, other than the treasury report, unless the council member has a specific question for one of the department?
I have no problem with that. Excuse me? All right. Brent, are there any department head reports here that we ought to be hearing?
From my review, Mr. Mayor, I think it's pretty standard. I don't think there's anything that jumps out at me.
We're going to be covering the tourism zone in detail at another work session, correct?
That is correct.
That's the only thing that comes to my mind. Anyone else have a problem with that? All right, so
we're going to dispense with all the reports. You still can ask questions.
well, if we're going, I'll tell you what we can do. We can go through and not give the reports, but ask questions if you have questions for everyone. How's that?
And the reason for doing this is because the meeting's going to go too long?
Yes. That's your reason, right, Steve?
It is, yeah.
Do you have an objection, Frank?
I'd like to hear the reports myself.
You can read them, Frank, or in your
I know I can read them, but the people came to the meeting and standard procedures to hear the reports. So you asked my opinion, I gave it.
Is there any other comment or question?
I have no problem about it.
Let's be clear what we're going to be deciding to do. We will go through these reports. They will, except for the treasurer's reports, the report will not be given unless there are questions for each of the department heads.
Is that the way you normally have it, Mr. Mayor, anyway?
Well, generally speaking, yes. Unless, yes, sometimes there are reports that are given. Steve, I suggest you just withdraw the motion. You go
I
through-
put the motion suggestion.
Let's let it go. Let's let it go. Okay? So I have a motion. Do I have a second for approval of the consent agenda?
Second.
All in favor? Consent agenda is carried. Let's start with the treasurer's report, please. Oh, I beg your pardon. I beg your pardon. Just right over that. I need a motion to approve the minutes from the previous meetings.
I'll make a motion.
Second, is there a second? Second. All in favor of approving the minutes? Minutes are approved. And now we go to the treasurer.
The total cash position, page one, total available cash on hand at the end of September was $1,159,108. That's a normal decrease of $47,521 over August. Total restricted or reserved cash was $1,464,977. Total cash in all accounts as of the end of September was $2,624,085. We have a debt service payment for $140,586, and that's due next week, October 20th. Any questions about cash position? Next page is budget performance. For the general fund, there was year-to-date revenue of $388,000, year-to-date expenses was $674,000, for a net balance of negative $286,000. We discussed last month the increased spending over the legal fees, purchase of a vehicle, marketing and legal expenses, and the remittance of insurance proceeds to Cape Charles Laws. Public Utilities Fund has year-to-date revenue of $482,600, year-to-date expenses of $332,500, for a net balance of $150,100. The Harbor Fund has year-to-date revenue of $352,600, year-to-date expenses of $363,000, for a net balance of negative $10,500. I looked at the revenue over last year. Docking fees were actually up $15,000 over last year. The primary decrease was fuel, and that was fired by the cost of gas prices. So there really hasn't been a decrease in revenue. There was an increase so far. We spent about $20,000 towards the harbor, so that did increase expenses. Otherwise, there's been no significant change in revenue or expenses for this year. Sanitation Fund has year-to-date revenue of $47,100, year-to-date expenses of $30,200, for a net balance of $16,900. Any questions? We dispersed $52,859 for capital expenditures in September. $12,371 was for the automatic flush system, $2,695 for pump station engineering, $20,396 for the harbor breakwater, and $17,397 for the manhole rehab project. I finally added the harbor project to the report. So those are old items, the $10,000 for the truck. It's for prior month. Go on to the final page. I've got answer to Andrew's question on this page. Meals tax has increased 18.6% over 2014. Those are for June, July, and August tax returns and performance, and the increase represents $414,000 in business revenue growth. Transient occupancy tax revenue increased 47% over 2014. If you recall, we only increased the rate 0.7%, so that's quite an increase. The increase to the business owners was $452,900. Local sales tax shows a moderate increase over the past 2 years. You'll see that 2014 looks low, but that was due to an underpayment error by Northampton County that they corrected that last December. So that's an artificially low number right there. So there's a little increase. The rest of them are holding fairly steady. Any questions?
Questions?
Can we get the conclusion of the report?
I mean,
Okay. I want a clarification. In our previous workshop meeting, and as Smithy Guys alluded to in his comments, he presented a paper that showed the deficits that had been incurred in the harbor for the past 4 years. Last year, I think it showed 178,000. He just said it was plus 46. That's quite a swing. I mean, can you tell us what the definitive number is?
I'll have to go back and look at it. I don't have the numbers, the audit in front
It's
of me.
roughly $224,000
Yeah.
difference.
I know there was a loss in the harbor last year to consider depreciation and the debt service.
And then for another point of clarification, when people hear those kind of figures, we've often heard that the harbor is self-funding, but I guess that's only true when it has positive numbers. If the harbor loses $178,000, where
The general fund.
where do you go to the general fund?
It comes out of the fund balance. In fact, this year, there's a $107,000 excess in the general fund, and that's going to cover the majority of the harbor's debt service for this year
Okay.
in that budget.
So when the harbor is losing money, it's not self-funding, it's everybody in town is paying some form of tax to the town, and actually is funding the harbor. Okay, I guess that's all I got at this time.
And I will find out which number is correct.
Yeah, that's a pretty big difference.
That is a big difference. Anybody else?
Any other questions? A motion to accept the treasurer's report?
So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Treasurer's report is accepted. Planning?
I'm sorry, I forgot something very important. And the new accountant, her name is Jody Atley, Jody, would you stand? I'm so sorry, I forgot. She's very skilled, we're very happy to have her. Stop by and talk to her.
Welcome to Cape Charles.
And that number, how can we wait till next meeting and connect them?
I can email it to you.
Okay.
Yep. So let's,
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of council. I have nothing to answer my report, but happy to answer any questions.
Yes, I have a question. During the business association presentation, you mentioned as one of the things to look forward to, new parking at the beach. So what exactly does that entail?
Right now, doesn't entail anything because the planning commission received my report at the meeting.
And that would be new parking.
Well, even if there's parallel spaces put down, right now you have no spaces, right? There's no demarcation of where a parallel stall would be. So we get back to we have inefficient use of space. The answer is going to be different. So I'll go back to the report that was done from the town in 1989, which was a community report, which was a survey of, Chief might remember from back in the day, a survey of every block in town at the 100 block level, and how many number of parking spaces would be there. That exists digitally. If anybody's interested in it, I can get it to you, but it also exists in paper up in my office. The west side of Bay Avenue was, according to that survey, supposed to have 66 parallel spaces at 18 feet. It's good enough. I'll take their word for it. So when I did my parking study this summer, what I looked at was the number 66. At what point does Bay Avenue exceed 66 parking spaces on the west side? 66 vehicles. And at that point, you would say, if those 66 parallel spaces were painted down there, you're going to have an overflow. That parking's got to go somewhere. In a sense, the prime spaces are taken up so people go to the so prime, which is either say the east side of the street or the side streets, which is also to say that goes in front, that parks in front of somebody's house. I think the idea is to get as many people for the beach, park at the beach. This way it doesn't create that tension, like, in front of folks' houses, whether that's the east side of Bay or the side streets. So even to try to put parallel spaces down there for the immediate parking would at least put some rational use of space where you don't have rational use of space right now. Again, right now you've got, and I maybe spent too much time looking at parking at the beach this summer on Bay Avenue, but you even had golf carts parked sideways. And you asked the question, is a golf cart parked sideways the best use of 18 feet of parking? And the answer is no, it's not. But given that you don't have any rational use of space there, it's the kind of use you're going to get. Like, it's like Peach. It's like the parking, the median parking on Peach. The reverse angle parking adds about 120 some spaces on Bay Avenue on the west side. A number of times this summer, the parking exceeded 66 was only about 25% of the time, ballpark a quarter. Not surprising, that's Friday afternoons and the weekends, when there's going to be most people going to the beach. So in consideration of the parking plan for Bay Avenue, are you planning to park for the heaviest use days? Or in which case you have the back and angle parking forever? Or are you planning to park for a typical day where you only have the pressure to exceed those 66 spaces 25% of the time? That's a conversation still to have. The planning commission didn't make any recommendation on that. I'm happy to have that conversation.
Well, who's going to make that decision? Because most of the people assumed that it was the town council's decision to put reverse angle parking downtown. And ultimately, it was VDOT's one, huh?
Yes, VDOT will approve or deny the parking request. So that's why it's the opportunity. Driver from VDOT, given much more information than what they have right now, they would even entertain study of pull-in angle parking on Bay Avenue, at least on the west side of the street. So there's a lot of variables here.
That would make things even more confusing here in town.
I don't
I agree. Frank, I agree with you. We really need a work session on this. The only thing about it is that while we have a lot of time until summer comes, summer will come quickly.
Yes.
We need to get this resolved very quickly with a plan. So I'm wondering if you can come to us with a couple of proposals of what the various implications are. How's that sound, Frank?
It's fine. I think it's following a process right now with the planning commission to make a recommendation to town council.
Great.
Once town council receives that recommendation, I think it's Mark's discussion at this level.
Right, but if it only exceeds the 66, 24% of the time, I guess I question how much expectation that people who live on the east side may have people aren't going to park over there on the weekends, and should we alter a century-old parking scheme? Only exceeds 66 cars 24% of the time. I mean, in my opinion, that is not sufficient number to do that. Maybe we'll continue this workshop.
I mean, well, statistically it indicates there's nothing wrong with parallel parking. You put parallel parking there, you're going to accommodate most people most of the time.
And that may be the answer that comes from the planning commission. So let's see what the planning commission comes to us with, as Brendan suggested, and then we have a work session ourselves.
Right. I just hate to see us follow the previous process.
Well,
I'd like to get a little more thought before we jump into the
From the Business Association, each year, from Debbie's financial report, each year we're getting bigger and bigger and bigger. So the 66, well, they're going to do it. I know they're parking in front of my house now, which doesn't bother me. I'm just happy people are going to the beach. But they are up in the side streets. So if we were good this year, and I think I was the best I've ever had, what's it going to be next year?
Mr. Mayor, to be honest, I mean, I've got 1 year's worth of data. So I can't tell you that this year was a typical year or
what they're looking for. But look, I think that's the point of getting the recommendation from the planning commission, and perhaps we should feed some of our questions and concerns to them. Chris's question about growth in the future, are we going to be having more people coming and so on. So let's get the recommendation from them. We're not going to have an ordinance until we've had a work session on this first.
I think the rate of beach erosion plays a part in this. At the rate that it's eroding, you go change all the parking, you've lost half your beach, and you're going to lose a lot of your demand for parking if the beach continues to shrink, which undoubtedly will.
Well, I'm a believer in.
Yeah, I think let's go on. I mean, it's going to be a long evening as it is. Are there any other questions for Larry? No. Okay.
Thanks.
Thank you. Let's see, what do we got next? Code enforcement.
I have no questions unless the council has them, or have no comments on the council. I think.
Any questions? No, thank you. Sit down quickly. Let's see. Town Harbor.
Yes, I don't have anything to add either, unless anybody has some questions.
Yes,
Frank, you were disappointed.
There's, as we've heard tonight and last meeting, between the idea of leasing or selling, leasing, or doing the same with your flyers. Anyway, I guess the question comes to my mind is what changes or initiatives that can the council initiate of best practices to try to reduce any deficit? The big number between 178 negative and 46 to be positive, but if this was a independent small business, they'd be looking at how you can raise revenues and minimize any expenses, variable costs. So I guess my question is, when I looked at that sheet at the work session, from 16 deficit to 17 to take out the 120 and 65 and maybe 78, 68, it was a big jump. And I know we hired a lot of additional personnel. But you brought in this, so if you did this lease, which I guess, but if you did that first thing, that person's going to look at the absolute minimum amount of labor you need to make something work. So I'd like to see the staff, I'd like to see the council or town managers,
Frank,
as a recommendation to put forth some common sense proposals. You don't need to.
Frank, I got it, and I think we all do.
I think you got it.
No, excuse me.
I didn't hear it before I brought it up.
Well, as you recall, in the last meeting, what council, in the workshop, what council asked was for the treasurer and the town harbor and the staff to look at what went underneath the numbers that they were seeing. Why are the numbers the way they are, and what could be changed to make them be different? Because if we hire somebody, they're going to have to work within some sort of framework as well. They're going to have to hire people. They're also going to have to have a profit in there somewhere. So why do we think they would do better than we would? We need to go through and analyze the finances for the harbor and what we can do.
When's this going to happen?
I haven't.
Actually, it's already started.
Yeah. So to your point, I think you're right. We need to understand that, but as I understand it, that is going on right now.
Okay.
Correct.
Well,
Is that correct?
Yes, it is.
I have a couple additional comments. We also heard of a policy where there was discounting for town residents on items, top fees, fuels, and such. And I guess we need to question all these. It's our job to govern, and that involves setting in policy. So I think if we need to do that. If it's ongoing, I commend that. I would like to see the end result of that in a definitive amount of time, so we can try to lessen the burden of the expense of that harbor on senior citizens and the work class folks who generally don't enjoy it in the boating part of the harbor, but yet are having to increasingly pay for it. And we need to view this as what common sense steps we can take to move it back toward the break even and hopefully an eventual profit situation. And one other example of this is, what happened in the year between, we went from 17 in the hole up to 65,000. We made some additional hires, and I wonder if we need all the certain personnel. In one specific instance, I understand we have a full-time maintenance person. I know there's boards and upkeep that needs to be done. But I guess I'll throw the question out, why can't we utilize some of the public works staff I see a person that's going to truck in the morning, I pick up a lot of sticks every day all over town, picking up the brush. Seemingly we can make better use of those time, and
If I could
also
just
departments here.
interrupt you for a second.
Sure.
Right now, just for an example, we are running with just me and that young man that you're talking about.
Okay.
So typically, the staffing should be 3. So there's your saving money right there. Now, what I make is not what Smitty made, so you're saving money there. So.
All right, so look, what I'd like to suggest here, Brent, do you have a time frame when you might be able to get back to us with the outcome of what you're looking at for the harbor?
Working with Deb, I think probably within the next maybe 2 weeks, probably be realistic.
2 weeks? You sure you can do it in 2 weeks?
Certainly trying to catch up from not having an accountant for a month.
I understand. Do you want to think about that a bit and send a note out in the next, say
We can send out
Monday, send an email out to council saying when we'll have the outcome of the study that you're doing right now. How's that sound, everybody? Is that all right?
Don't you think that part of the common sense approach of trying to optimize the profitability of the harbor would include looking at perhaps management companies just to see what they might have to offer? I've looked at a few, and there are companies that service the Chesapeake Bay that would, part of their big draw is the number of additional boaters they send to their own marinas. So as part of the study, if we're going to do the common sense thing, it seems to me that common sense would say that we need to include that as part of the study.
One problem with the harbor is the breakwaters. Who is paying for the breakwaters?
Well, that debt service is in the harbor.
Yes, sir.
Yep.
Well, that's a good question. Who is paying for the breakwaters right now?
The harbor fund.
And it's true out there now.
If it goes to a negative balance, we pay for breakwaters.
Goes to the general.
The general fund.
So everybody's paying for the breakwaters.
And the harbor is, everybody wants the harbor. So I mean, the breakwaters, that's been always overlooked.
Well, while we're on that, I'll try to be brief, Mr. Mayor, there's an agenda item about the third breakwater. It alludes, and we can more discussion when it gets to that item. But how confident are we that those breakwaters are doing what they're designed to do? Who measures that?
I don't know how to answer that question.
That's over $1 million question. At this point, we've got over $1 million in the rocks and planning to spend another $140,000.
And adding 2 feet on top of the present breakwaters.
Right.
The more
2 feet in addition.
Yeah.
7 feet. So
it's a very important thing for the harbor.
Yeah.
I think there's data that will support what a breakwater does to minimize wave and swell action in the harbor. I don't know that there's anybody here that can explain it, or probably not too many people here that understand it. But it is not something that was just invented or just, we decided to throw a pile of rocks out of the harbor.
If I may, there was a wave study done about a year ago, possibly 2 years ago. I can certainly make a copy and send them to you.
That would be appreciated.
All right.
A lot of folks I talk to question.
Oh, shall we go on?
I think it's important we try to do a better job of helping the harbor or working with the harbor and to own the solution.
I agree.
And that solution to be minimal and bring it back to a break-even situation.
And I think that it's even more imperative that we investigate other options to management of the harbor.
I think those are two different things.
I don't.
Okay, well, let's title to that.
Well, as I recall, the first thing we were going to do was to understand where the money is going in the harbor and why the finances are the way they are. And then, having understood that, we can go forward to decide something else if that is appropriate.
Yes.
We have to see them.
But we have not seen that yet. That's the point. We haven't seen it yet, so we don't know. That was one of the questions that we had in the work session that we did. Why is the money, why is it the way it is? We didn't as a group understand that, so we've got to do that before we do anything else. Let's go on. Next is the Cape Charles Memorial. Thank you very much, Barbara. Sorry.
Oh, no problem.
Thank you.
Hi, I'd just like to add one thing. Emily already came up here and talked about the great programs that the Friends are doing for National Friends of the Library Week, but I'd just like to take this opportunity to thank the Friends for all they've done. Without the Friends, we would not have the wonderful library that we have. We would not have all these wonderful programs that they support and provide. So I just want to thank all the Friends that are here. Without them, we wouldn't be what we are, and so thank you very much. Any questions?
Everybody start practicing with your little finger.
Oh, yes.
They're starting T's. T at 3 at the library in the presentation.
I want you to get your gloves and hats out. Okay.
Is it high T?
High T.
That's high T. Okay, that's different. We're gonna get tails. Police Department. Thank you.
All right. Got anything that I'm gonna tell you or not? The only thing I have, I want to personally thank Tommy Potts and Chelsea Pfeiffer for the work that they've done to catch this predator we had infest our town. I'm going to start by saying that the sacrifice and time away from home was noticed by me. It was Friday, October the 2nd. This did not occur on October the 1st. In the afternoon and the early evening. They put in a 21-hour day that day. And then it came right back Saturday morning and worked for 34 hours straight without shutting their eyes. Now, I'll skip this part. Now, I'm all up for alerting the citizens that we have a small police department and priorities were in order to catch this person. I don't know any way, there's no way on earth we can walk and knock door to door and let people know. We put it on our Facebook page. It's about as good as it gets right now. You just saw the hours, and we're not done. This occurred October 2nd, and it's now October 15th, and we're not done. We are still working around the clock. She's coming in early. I'm staying late. He's staying late. He's coming in early. There's no idea the amount of hours and paperwork and detail that have to be put together to put this person away for the rest of his life. And I hope he goes away for the rest of his life. I didn't know it entailed as much as it had, and we've got a long way to go. We'll be working till the court date, and then after the first court date, we'll be working from that first court date till he's sentenced, non-stop. So back on my thing here, this dedication and drive to catch this predator and get him off the street should be commended again and again. The suspect was unknown, and about 36 hours into this investigation, we had our handcuffs on his wrists. This is done by fantastic police work. It's the only way you can describe it. We had no suspect. 36 hours later, we have an arrest. It was done by two great police officers, two great friends of mine. Two of them I take them as my family, and I'm proud to work beside them every day. And Cape Charles should be proud and privileged to have them as dedicated police officers as they are, to put the time that we are putting in this, they are putting in this.
I want to thank you and the police department very much for such a fine effort. I think that what you have done would do credit to the finest police officer in the major police departments in a major city. To catch someone so quickly is remarkable. So I think you deserve a huge amount of credit and praise for the great job that you did. I really appreciate it very much. Thank you, Chelsea. Thank you, Tom. Well, he's not here, but thanks to you all.
Emails, you all got emails. Not going to ask any questions about it. Say don't even ask. Sorry.
No questions.
Not answering a single question about it.
I don't have a question, but I do have something I want the rest of the council and mayor to think about in regards to policing the park and to what we now know is a dangerous situation by the public restrooms. And I would like to suggest that we figure out a way to mount a camera similar to the one you see hanging on the side of the school, so that if there's any, so that the police at their disposal can see just who is frequenting the public restrooms and who's going in and out of there. And if they ever have any additional problems, and they have that as a tool to help figure things out, because obviously those restrooms lock from the inside, so they can, I guess most recently been dangerous. So I would like to see a security camera in that area that encompasses, has a view of the public restrooms for a tool for the police department.
You're not going to stop crime anywhere you live.
No, that's.
I know, I understand.
You wouldn't have to wait 36 hours either.
Yeah.
Perhaps, but that's another subject.
36 hours is not a long time for it happening. It's going to happen. 36 hours is fantastic. Less you call than that. But I'd like to see a camera on every telephone pole. It's not
Well, if we're going to start with one in town, where would you put that one?
That's up to you.
That's why I just made the suggestion.
I mean, we had the big fight on the beach in May, and the gang and us in May, and so we got cameras on the beach. I don't know.
Good work.
It's, we're 5 of us.
Great.
And budgets, and we're restricted. We do what we can do.
The only quick question, there was a hit and run. Was anybody hurt? On your report?
That was a hit and run. It was a it was a road trailer and a hard road, so it ran and called it, got tipped on the police.
Okay.
They did a good job on that too.
I'm sure they did. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Public utilities, any questions?
I have no questions.
I didn't ask you. Public works?
I still have no.
Recreation, I believe Jen Lewis is ill tonight, attend, but I don't see anything in here particularly that needs to be discussed. Information, if you want to read it. The next item of business, let's see. Acquisition of Mason Avenue parcel. You want to take us? Oh, you're going to take us. Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. This is basically a confirmation of the decision we made back in February of this year to buy the parcel of land on Mason Avenue from Strawberry Street Station LLC. You recall there was a delay in approval of the development, and the parcel was just recently subdivided. You did budget money for it in this fiscal year budget, and the town attorney has recommended, because of the delay, to adopt a new resolution authorizing the acquisition of the parcel. The mayor and the resolution authorizes the mayor and/or town manager to conclude the contract and close on the parcel. So that's the intent for this particular item.
I'll take a motion to adopt a resolution to execute the acquisition and improvement of a parcel on Mason Avenue.
I'll make the motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you.
Just one thing on that says, be it further resolved that the town manager and mayor, either of whom, I would just ask to remove the mayor's name and just say the town manager, authorized to negotiate and finalize this one.
The reason that the attorney, this is similar to the resolution that was adopted for the acquisition of the lots on Stone Road. And the reason it's worded that way is in case one of the others incapacitated out of town. But we can certainly, if council would prefer just one, we can.
Okay, any further discussion? I move for adoption of resolution 2015-1015, acquisition of Mason Avenue property as noticed, and forego reading of the resolution. I need a roll call vote. Bannon?
Present. Bannon, yes.
Bennett?
No.
Brian, yes.
Wendell, yes.
Gavin, no.
What do we got?
3-2.
Ready to do it? Motion is carried, thank you. Next is the Davis disposal contract.
Yeah, it's time for a renewal for the trash collection. And the contract was signed. I'm sorry.
We'll go out of order here. This is now, I gotta do the US, I'm gonna do the USA. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do too.
As you know, we discussed earlier, the USDA grant loan combination was denied this year for the first time in several years. Because of the denial, we were offered a 100% loan for the public works vehicle, which was unfortunately ordered on the okay of the our USDA rep, based on her knowledge of past years and the funding available, and she had no reason to believe we wouldn't get it again. So I'm not sure what happened in DC or the state, but we did not get it. We had already ordered the vehicle, unfortunately, so we had to pay for it. And the 100% loan will cost, it'll be at 3.25% interest. It'll be approximately $2,000 per year debt service over 5 years. The first debt payment will not occur until fiscal year 2017. The increase to cover the loss of the grant, the total is $8,855 before the interest. The previous code enforcement vehicle has been transferred to the harbor, who have been using their personal vehicles to do their daily bank trips and pick up supplies. So staff recommends that you adopt the resolution before you, number 2015-10158, to fund the purchase of the new code enforcement vehicle via the USDA loan offer.
I'll take a motion to approve the loan resolution for code enforcement vehicle.
So moved.
I move for adoption of resolution 2015-1015A, a governing body of Cape Charles for USDA rural development loan as noticed, and forego reading of the resolution. On roll call vote.
Bannon, yes.
Bennett, yes.
Brian, yes.
Wendell, yes.
Motion is carried. Now we go on to Davis disposal contract. Sorry about that, folks.
Right, the Davis contract was actually signed in 2013 with the option to extend it 4 years. We're in our third extension year, which on the cover sheet here says that it's $13.85 for the service for residential. That's actually not correct. It'll be $13.50 this year. $13.85 is for the fourth year. So everything else remains the same, and except, well, everything remains the same this year. But it was $13.50 this year. It'll be $13.50 next year.
I need a motion to approve Need a motion to approve the awarding of the contract extension of waste collection and disposal services to Davis Disposal. I make a motion. Second. I move for adoption of Resolution 20151015B of appreciation.
That's the wrong
Wrong one.
You don't need, they just need to make it.
Just a vote. Just a vote. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion is carried.
Thank you.
Okay, we're getting there. Appointment of the library. Appointment to the library board. So, just going to take us through that.
I can take you through it. Excuse me, Mr. Mayor, Council. As you're aware, the library board meets monthly. It consists of 7 members who serve in a 4-year term. 2 vacancies currently on the library board. The resignation of Linda Schultz and Valerie Travis, terms which expired in August 2015. They've had trouble meeting a quorum for their meetings. Of course, on October 1st, Council was able to interview a candidate, Deborah Crockett, for one of the vacant positions. And staff recommends to Council that they reappoint Deborah Crockett to the library board for a 4-year term set to expire August 8th, 2019.
Take a motion to appoint Ms. Deborah Crockett to the library board for a 4-year term expiring on August 8th, 2019.
I'll make the motion, Mr. Mayor.
Second. All in favor? Aye. Ms. Crockett is appointed. Next is the awarding of the contract for the construction of the 3rd grade quarter and adding height to the existing grade quarters.
Yes, there's a lot of information in this staff report. The bottom line is that we budgeted $860,000 this year for the 3rd grade quarter and any additional improvements that we could make for protection of the harbor. That was $215,000 of town bond proceeds would fund that. The balance was Virginia Port Authority aid to local port grant money. We got 3 bids in. One was exceptionally good. The other fortunate thing that happened was that we were offered another $80,000 of federal boating infrastructure grant money. Talked to the Virginia Department of Health contact who is managing that. It is not 100% certain yet, but it's 99% certain we're going to get it. The bids, as I said, were exceptionally low, and we're able, within the amount of funding available, to award construction of the 3rd breakwater to a height of 7 feet above mean lower low water, and add 2 feet of height to the 2 existing breakwaters, all within existing funding. And if in fact the $80,000 of big money somehow does not come through, we're still within the $215,000 town bond proceeds that we budgeted. The really good thing about it, in adding the height, is that you also add mass, because you have to think of it as a triangle, kind of locked up triangle. Mass is what knocks down the swells. So you add a lot of base to it as well as height. And you have a tidal range here of about 2.5 feet. So after 5 foot above mean low water, we only have about 2.5 feet of freeboard. storm surge, you will overtop the breakwaters that the existing pattern. So we can do it within the available funding, and if you find it acceptable, the recommendation is to authorize the town manager to execute the contract.
Motion?
Second. Any discussion?
Yeah, I got a couple of questions. In the recent wave study that you quote in the report, is that where they recommended the extra 2 feet?
No, it was actually in our original design specifications, based on the original wave study. It was a wave study done before the first two breakaways.
Is that begs the question, why wasn't that built that way to begin with? Money, it was cheaper to leave the 2 feet off.
Right.
Are the debt service going to overlap the first two?
Yes, but
How many years?
2 years. We have another 2 years.
And at the workshop, we weren't sure of what the payment would be, annual payment on the third breakaway.
Well, it's really not much. It's if we're at if we get the big money, which I'm sure we will.
That's the 80 you're speaking of.
That's the 80. We would have roughly $135,000 of bond proceeds going toward this particular project. It's a 20-year amortization, so it's not much.
Ballpark figure. Deborah, can you help him?
Well, it's 135 over the remaining 18 years.
$7,000 or $8,000
A year.
a year.
I think this is great news. I would ask, does this use all of the Port Authority grant money that we currently have authorized?
No, it does not. We have the balance is roughly $830,000. So we would have a little shy of $200,000 left.
And is the Port Authority still granting money for this purpose?
Yes.
And do you know what time of the year that grant request is supposed to go in? Because I think we missed the last one because we were asking for a carryover rather than...
Right, we went ahead and we had 3 unexecuted grants, and we requested carryover of all those 3, which they granted. The next one goes in, it's either late winter or...
Okay, well, I would encourage us to apply again, since they do seem to like our harbor and have funded us every time we apply. And we do have the proceeds from the Southport properties that are being sold. So it would be wonderful to get the remaining 2 breakwaters done while this perhaps favorable big climate still is around.
It actually was a strange bid. This company was so low, we suspect, because they're doing a massive project with Stefan, and it's kind of on the way. This is the company is considered to be the premier breakwater riprap building on the bay.
Yes, correct.
Didn't at one time, we were just, the previous councils, I think, we discussed this, weren't you hoping that you would get participation from stakeholders in the harbor?
Absolutely.
Bay Shore and Southport, and
absolutely.
Possibly, I don't know, was the Coast Guard thrown in there? We hoped that more entities would help us shoulder the burden, but.
No one has.
Yeah, the answer is no.
Also, jetty should be top off.
That is
save a lot of our beach.
Yeah, that's another thing that we have looked at. We have had subsistence in the jetty clearly over the years, and it would do 2 things. It would prevent the migration of sand from the beach, particularly in the winter with the northwesterly winds, So that's a possibility.
Aren't the tides running high all the time now? That was one of the things, just maybe go out, the tides were running high, you know, it never got down to what it's supposed to be.
No, they're not probably over about 6 or 8 inches higher than they've been in the past. Average yearly.
This is the third straight breakwater, right?
Yes.
That's just
Yes,
another section.
this is the third straight one, and then really, I think, because we do have the protection of the jetty on the north side, and we do have most of the activity on the harbor during the summer months, the next one, most likely will be the one to the south, that is annual breakwater, that goes a little further south than it is to the east. And that would provide very good protection there. Whether we need the fifth or not, we might be able to achieve pretty much the same results just by expanding the jetty.
Further questions? I'll take a resolution to award the contract for construction of a third breakwater and adding height to existing breakwaters.
We already have a motion.
Oh, we do have a motion. Second, we have a second? Yes. All in favor?
Aye.
One nay. Next item is resolution of appreciation to law enforcement officers. I'm just going to read the background. Would you like to read the background? Thank you.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I'll read the background. Council, law enforcement officers are a vital part of the community and provide numerous services to its citizens. Not only are law enforcement officers public servants who protect us on a daily basis, they are also our friends, neighbors, and family members. Increasingly, we read and hear about violence against police officers, including an unprovoked execution-style killing of an officer as he pumped gas into his car. According to statistics provided by the National Law Enforcement Memorial Fund, on average, one law enforcement officer is killed in the line of duty somewhere in the United States every 60 hours. The death of these individuals causes serious damage to our communities, not only because of the loss of an officer who serves as our protector, but because of the loss of the individual as a parent, sibling, friend, or mentor. It is important to support law enforcement officers serving the town of Cape Charles, Northampton County, and the Commonwealth of Virginia. I will continue with staff recommending council review and adopt the adoption of resolution 2015-1015B by roll call vote and appreciation of our law enforcement officers.
We have a motion? Second. I'm going to forego reading the entire resolution. I'll move for adoption, forego the resolution, but I do want to read what the resolution is. Now therefore be it resolved by the Cape Charles Town Council that the town of Cape Charles hereby extend our praise and support for all law enforcement officers, in particular those serving the Cape Charles Police Department, the Northampton County Sheriff's Department, and the Virginia State Police. Be it further resolved that the town of Cape Charles encourages citizens everywhere to stand up for the safety of those police officers across the country that protect and serve them. We've had ample demonstration in our town over the years of the value and the contribution that our police forces made to this community. We should in turn stand up for them and try to make their lives as safe and comfortable and pleasant as possible. And that's the sense of this resolution. Being a police officer must be a very difficult job. I cannot imagine doing it. So we should support you as much as we possibly can. So at this point, I move for adoption of resolution 2015-1015C. I beg your pardon. Guys, I'm so sorry. I am all over the floor tonight. So we have a motion. We have a second. We do not need a roll call for this.
Yes, you do.
You do?
Roll call vote.
I need a roll call vote.
Bannon, yes.
Bevin, yes.
Bennett, yes.
Brown, yes.
Wendell, yes.
Motion is carried. Thank you. Next item is property addition to the enterprise zone.
Good evening again, everyone. About a month ago, we received a letter from the county administrator requesting any addition to the map. We've got the map there. The current town enterprise zone is the green shaded area. What they requested is if we have any additional parcels to add to the enterprise zone, because they're going to amend the map on a regular basis. This one's planning commission on October the 6th. After some discussion, they recommended the parcel at 1 Mason Avenue, the old Northampton Hotel, since it's zoned harbor district. So that's the recommendation that's before the council now to add that harbor district zone property to the enterprise zone.
Take a motion.
So moved. Second.
Any discussion?
I think it's exciting what's going on down there. It's going to be wonderful for the town.
Yep. All in favor? Aye. Motion is carried. Thank you. And the last item is the law enforcement mutual aid agreement.
I'll take Mr. Mayor. The hours are late. Basically, Cliff's notes version would be that our mutual aid agreement between the town and the county, the sheriff is requesting that we sign a new agreement due to the fact that the town has a new town manager. And from that, the recommendation is the council authorize by adoption of resolution 2015-1015C, the town manager to execute the new law enforcement mutual aid agreement with Northampton County.
I'll make the motion that we adopt the resolution as stated recommended. Second.
Any discussion? I move for adoption of resolution 2015-1015C, law enforcement mutual aid agreement as noticed, and forgo reading of the resolution. Roll call vote, please.
Bannon, yes.
Bennett, yes.
Your vote. We're waiting for you.
Oh, yes.
Yes. Frank?
Yes.
Motion is carried. Thank you. And that is, we now move into mayor and council comments. Does anyone have any comments?
I do. First of all, I want to applaud Frank for his diligence and his concern for the finances of the town. And I also want to applaud the police department for his efforts in this work. And I don't think you necessarily have to reply to everybody. Take your 30, within that 30-some hours or 36 hours, you need to take time and explain to the public what you were doing and give that information. I thought you did the right thing to continue to do your work, find out what's going on later on. So I want to apply it. Great in this town, and this sit down seems to be a great place to be. We walk the streets nights, we feel comfortable. And I think that's just one isolated incident that occurred. And these things happen all the time. It's just that so many times it goes unreported. So we keep up the good work. I'll be behind you every way I can be. And I'll applaud you for it.
Thank you. Any other comments from the
One
council?
other thing, with regard to the question of the business association, that was one question about the hours of operation. I think that is something that could be addressed. I did take a tour a few years back, and the merchants had a special time that they would open and close. And in some instances, there was more than one business in the confines of that room. so that if this, when this particular room, they have one business, and over on this side, in the same space, there's another business, all complementing each other, so that when one had to go out, the two merchants would be complementing each other. Might be something to look at. Just made that observation when I was on tours. Seems like there was one other thing. But in the latest, you heard that. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. I had only one comment to make. Andrew Fulmer wanted me to express the thanks of the Business Association to the town for helping to repair the love sign. They were very appreciative of the work, and I believe it was Pete that did that, was it not?
I know that he helped out, but I'm sure he had a part to do with it, but Sandy McFall, I think, took care of that for the most part.
Well, they were aware that the town participated in that, and they were grateful for it.
Right.
So that is all that I have. I have some announcements. I'll go through.
I didn't mention.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You're all around the table here.
Oh, I asked if anyone had comments.
You didn't look this way though. I was encouraged by Andrew's report, and I would like to, when we have a copy of his report, to put it on the agenda of the next work session and kind of go through some of his points in more detail so that we have answers at least for ourselves to some of these questions and challenges he posed. I was happy to hear the additional discussion about the harbor, and I do encourage the town manager to continue to look at opportunities for outside businesses to maybe come and make a presentation to the council on how exactly a harbor management company works and what they have to offer. And I would also encourage the town manager to rejoin the Chamber of Commerce.
I'll take this opportunity to agree with something Councilman Bennett said. I'd like to echo that join the chamber would be a good thing. So I agree with that. During Andrew's presentation, I thought it was good to get a presentation. I made a few notes and I started to jump in, but I didn't want to interrupt his rhythm there. But I guess I do question when he said there's no staff available for the town, for the press. I mean, doesn't that kind of fall under the umbrella of town manager? If somebody's coming to town with the Hampton Roads, whatever, wouldn't you go to the town office and seek the town manager / mayor / somebody up there? I mean, the implication is we're not properly staffing down there. I don't know. I just think that kind of, I think we got folks that can step up to the plate with a little bit of notice. But I thought it was great that we had a busy summer now. If all that continues. The one thing that I want to bring up in regard to business in the downtown commercial area is, and the rest of the council gave a little thought to, hopefully, is that this third phase of the trail, when it gets to the part between Randolph and Mason, where there's approximately 25 parking spots to be lost if you put a median in there. And I would like for you to think about that and contrast that to 2 blocks west. The town has acquired a lot, and I guess people would say that's a good deal. I think it was $200,000 for the building and lot. So I don't know what kind of money you would associate with the lot being part of that. But let's just say it's $50,000. That's the value. The $10,000 roughly engineering, and I looked at the project, it's cost $60,000, so there's roughly $120,000 to create roughly the same amount of parking spots that you're going to, do away with 2 blocks to the east. I would think ought to be some kind of way we can use that trail, dress up those areas, that section with sidewalk and curbing and all, and increase lighting so when those businesses hopefully open up, be it the hopefully somebody will buy at the restaurant to give us another dining choice. And you got the, whatever the food club perhaps, the physical fitness center, whatever's going to happen on the corner there, it seems like they probably have their own parking. But 2 blocks away, we're spending money to create roughly 20, 25 parking spots. And then we got a trail that's going to, destroy it or do away with them. I think we need to modify the trail design and keep those additional 25 parking spots in our commercial district. We're certainly going to need them. If those businesses, that area of town, open up, they're certainly going to need them. And I'll give that some thought. I thought the idea of a welcome package to Tammy Holloway, I thought that's been needed for a long time in town. The magnets, the large numbers for older folks who don't know who to call when they see something that is a problem, but it doesn't cross the 911 threshold of a problem. I think there's a lot of education needs to be done in that area, and hopefully the county can take that on. And I think that's it for me, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you very much. I disagree with Frank. I think they should put the boulevard in across the we've got, how many places do we have now right there behind the old supermarket? We just put a parking lot in there. How many spaces are there?
Again, it's not rationally set out because we don't have particular parking stalls yet. Ballpark, 60-some. Again, it's not lit, and there's drawbacks to that lot, but this is, as far as the availability, putting cars there, it's probably 60-some, 50 to 60 fares.
Thank you. Are there any other
I'd like
comments?
to take this additional opportunity to disagree with Councilman Madden.
And you've done it respectfully, which is very pleasant. As you are always.
I'm trying, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, no, I know you are. Announcements. October 27th, I have my mayor's office hours from 6 to 7 here at the Civic Center. November 5th is a town council work session at 6. November 10th, I have my office hours again at 2 to 3. November 11th, the town offices are closed for Veterans Day. November 12th, there is a town council work session at 6. And November 19th, there is a town council regular meeting at 6. Make a motion to adjourn? I'll make a motion. Second. Second. Those moving seconded, all in favor? We are adjourned.